Music in the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful. The sixth powerful wave of Operation Sincere Promise 4 against United States oil companies in the region took place forcefully under the code, O Lord of time, hasten your coming. The noble and courageous people are in the streets, while the deceitful and lying enemy at noon today attacked some of our country's energy facilities. To further pressure the people who for 16 days and nights have been expressing their opinion in the streets about the recent aggressions, thus trying to take revenge on the Iranian nation. The Islamic Republic of Iran had no intention of expanding the scope of the war to oil facilities and did not want to cause damage to the economy of friendly and neighboring countries. However, with the enemy's aggression against energy infrastructure, we have in fact entered a new phase of the war. And the need to defend Iran's infrastructure forced us to attack energy facilities related to the United States and American stakeholders. O noble people of Iran, your brave sons in the armed forces, immediately after the enemy's wickedness, launched an offensive action in a heavy retaliatory operation. Until the damage reached the level of the blow we suffered, they set fire to a number of oil facilities considered to be United States interests in the region. Once again, we warn the enemy that they made a grave mistake by attacking the energy infrastructure of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and the response to this is already underway and is not over yet. If this happens again, the next attacks on their energy infrastructure and that of their allies will not stop until their complete destruction, and our response will be much harsher than tonight's attacks. The Navy of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps of Iran also continued Operation Sincere Promise 4, and in the 63rd wave of this operation, it destroyed key targets at the Manhattan and Al Dhafra bases, at the helicopter base Al-Azayiri of the American terrorists, and at the base of Mina, Salman, headquarters of the 5th Fleet of the American terrorists. In this combined missile and drone operation, the command building, fuel tanks, and equipment warehouses at the Manhattan base were effectively hit. The early warning radars and the central ramp of the Al-Azayiri base were also hit by ballistic missiles. The fuel tanks and early warning radars of the terrorists' air bases, Al Dhafra and the headquarters of the 5th Fleet in Mina Salman, were also heavily hit by drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles. The brave men of the Aerospace Force of the Revolutionary Guard as well, continuing the 63rd wave, struck the military deployment centers of the Zionist regime. Occupier child killer in the south of the occupied territories with a counter missile with multiple warheads, and this attack produced distinct images. In addition, a few hours ago, 2 drones belonging to the invading enemy were destroyed by the Army's air defense systems in the skies over Tehran. During this war, the advanced drones of the invading enemy were often hit by the integrated defense network systems before carrying out offensive operations. The offensive and defensive operations of Iran's armed forces continue with strength, and victory comes only from Allah, the Almighty, the Wise.
Good morning. A significant number of Iranian ballistic missiles have been fired since midnight. At least 7 barrages have targeted this country. Some of the interceptors crossed the skies of this country, shooting down the incoming missiles, but there were many different impact sites during the night, and at least 4 people were killed. At one location in the West Bank, 3 Palestinian women were killed and several others were injured. A worker in central Israel died from leftover cluster munitions. Look at this part of the West Bank where these women were in a hall during the missile attack. A spokesperson for the Israeli Armed Forces said the following about the air defense systems that are working to intercept these launches.
We have air defense systems. I can say that they are among the best in the world. This is proven. Unfortunately, the defense is not perfect. We use our systems to intercept these missiles. These cluster missiles are a war crime if this terrorist regime directs them at population centers. There is no difference compared to a regular missile except for its dispersion.
Missile shrapnel fell in the old city of Jerusalem. You can see that earlier this week a large piece of Iranian shrapnel fell near the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. At the moment, the holy sites in Jerusalem are closed, following orders from the Home Front Command for everyone's safety. But again, you can see missile shrapnel there just a few meters from the church. Here is what a police spokesperson said about the situation.
The decision to close the holy sites, issued in accordance with the guidelines of the Home Front Command, has proven to be a life-saving measure. Today, shrapnel and large fragments of an Iranian missile fell inside the old city after an interception operation.
We are seeing an escalation throughout the region. While the United States and Israel continue to attack the Iranian regime, Iran is retaliating against Gulf countries and Israel. Guys, Trey, we know who runs the country. Yesterday, the Supreme Leader gave a generic statement about retaliation. But who's in charge? Who do the Israelis think is running things? That's a great question. We don't know who's running Iran. Right now, there's no proof of life for Mustafa Karim, the Supreme Leader of Iran. Last night, through state media, he supposedly released a statement calling for revenge for the death of Ali Larijani, the top official who was killed about 48 hours ago. We see a joint effort by Israelis and Americans to eliminate the rest of the leadership, not just Larijani. Yesterday, we quoted Iran's Minister of Intelligence and an important Basiji commander. We anticipate that these attacks will continue, but the Iranians are replacing these leaders and carrying on. They continue to fire at various locations throughout the Middle East.
Trey, we interviewed a woman yesterday, and she is originally from Iran. She talked about the people who are still alive and those who have been eliminated, and she told us, this is what she said she's hearing from her friends and family in Iran, that possibly the new leader had his foot blown off in an explosion. He is heavily sedated, so he doesn't even know yet that he is the leader, and he might possibly be in Russia. There are reports that maybe planes from Moscow came to get him and that he is recovering there. Have you heard anything about this?
I haven't heard, I can't confirm, but we know there are serious doubts about who is running Iran during this war. We should observe the reality on the ground, and the fact is that Iran can still launch missiles and drones against Israel and Gulf countries. And I spoke with a high-ranking Israeli military officer a few days ago who indicated that the firing of ballistic missiles toward Israel should continue for a few more weeks. So this is far from over. And Iran showed yesterday by attacking energy infrastructure in the Gulf that it is willing to escalate this conflict and target countries that hadn't attacked them before. You know?
Trey, the Prince of Saudi Arabia, Farhan, said the following: "The little trust that existed before has been completely destroyed. The attacks on my country and my neighboring countries, which are not involved in this conflict, that's all I'm interested in. We will use all the tools we have, political, economic, diplomatic, and others, to make these attacks stop." Do you think we could see Saudi Arabia go on the offensive?
Yes, and not just Saudi Arabia. Several Gulf countries, and Lucas will talk more about this, are making serious decisions about getting directly involved against Iran. What we saw yesterday, the attack on the Haslafam facility in Qatar, was really the biggest escalation of this conflict so far. This is the largest producer of liquefied natural gas in the world. Yesterday, ballistic missiles targeted it. As of about 8 hours ago, first responders in Qatar said they had controlled 2 of the 3 local fires. But this escalation will have a domino effect on global energy markets, and it's part of the reason why President Trump posted yesterday on Truth Social. Israel, out of anger over what happened in the Middle East, violently attacked the South Pars gas field in Iran. That was the initial attack that led to Iran's retaliation. The main point is that we are seeing a rapid escalation in the Middle East. This raises questions about solutions to the conflict. And how will Trump and others ensure that Iran stops attacking Gulf countries? And what about the energy infrastructure used not only by Israel but by the whole world?